Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. If you like videos with cool motorcycle rides, occasional mods, or RV related videos, this is the place for you. This is where we enjoy the ride. Please consider subscribing, hit that like button and the bell icon to be notified on our next ride. Now let's get to the featured presentation.
What do we need? Come on, guys. Jam it in the light.
Tell the difference when, like that hill back there, it felt like we accelerated, to me, on that particular hill, it felt like we accelerated faster than we previously did.
Yeah, the biggest difference that I noticed over the course of time since we had it done is that, how did I describe it before? It's not a snap your head back difference, but going up hills, small hills like that, I don't, like even this one here, I don't have to accelerate all the way to the floor anymore. I used to have to pretty much put it down, and on the big hills you put it down and pray for 40 miles an hour. And the engine upgrade was very much worthwhile. It really makes a difference.
Now, for us, it was, we know that we both like more power, so that was the first thing that we just wanted. We wanted more power. Also, we were very close to the end of our mechanical warranty. A place in Sparks, Nevada, on our way through to California, and it was actually a Cummins dealer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they do Cummins work on all kinds of Cummins, from small rigs to like small, like generator size engines, all the way up to our size and bigger, right?
Yeah, they work on any Cummins. It seems like they work on any Cummins product. They were very helpful, and they were very forthright in the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And before they went through and they checked to see if we were even able. They say eligible. It's not really eligible. It's whether you're able to do it with the software that's on your ECM, the software, and
Stop right there real quick. Explain what you mean by the software on your ACM if you're able to do it.
well,
Because that could be confusing to some folks on what do you mean by able?
well, your ECM is an electronic control module. It's basically a mini computer that controls. In the case of Cummins, it controls everything having to do with the engine. How much fuel, the timing, everything electronically that's controlled is controlled through the ECM. And if your ECM's too old, that's part of it. It's like a two-prong or maybe more, but at least two-prong test. One is that can your ECM do it? Two, is your engine already at the max horsepower rated for that engine?
And that has to do with the pistons and all of that stuff?
Yeah. So Cummins, I don't know if everybody else does it, but Cummins does it. I didn't know this. They have a critical parts list. There's a number on your engine that if you give, the Cummins dealer can look at that and say, does it have the right injectors? Does it have the right pistons? Does it have the right rods? Are all of the correct pieces already put into your engine so that when you do an upgrade, the engine can handle it? So that's probably the bigger problem than the ECM problem, or not problem, but the ECM issue that can occur. In fact, we didn't have an ECM issue, but there was a software thing. I had to pay an extra $100 they had to put a software
Upgrade.
another piece of software onto the ECM, enabled for it to accept the upgraded tune.
But all of our pistons and our fuel injectors and all that stuff, we had room to go from 380 to 450 on our rig.
Yeah, so I think it's ISL 9, but the ISL 9 Cummins, which is what we have and what's in the Allegro buses, can go from 380 to 450. There's 380, 400, and 450. And of course, you know, when we were looking at it, I mean, if you're going to spend in our case, we spend $700.
Yeah, that's counting the extra $100 for the software.
Yeah. If you're going to spend $700, why not go to 450 instead of 400? So, in fact, the guy from Cummins said the same thing. He asked me, and I said 450, and he goes, "Well, yeah, that makes sense." So, anyway, that's the gist of that. And you know, it does give you more power. It doesn't mean that we go blasting down the highway any faster than we did before. It just means we can pull hills better. It doesn't seem like we're putting as much strain on the engine. So.
Okay. Now, what about fuel consumption? Have you noticed a difference?
You know, we've done a little bit of it, and I think if it knocked anything off the fuel mileage, it's maybe a tenth or two. It's a
tenth of a mile.
It's not noticeable really at all. So this way, we don't fuel up any more often than we did before.
Okay.
But
and
you know, you can't drive really fast on the road like this with this rig, but it's actually very comfortable to drive. I don't. You know, I'm not stressing out. I don't feel white knuckled. You do have to pay attention to their corner speed signs because they're pretty accurate for a rig this size.
How does the Jake feel on little hills like that?
It actually barely kicks in. So our rig has an actual Jake brake. So instead of an exhaust brake, it has an actual Jake brake like a semi. I'm not getting into the technical differences, but the mechanical differences that you feel are huge. When the Jake that has a high and a low, I keep it on high most of the time, but when you step on the brakes, it does two things. It downshifts, and the Jake brake engages when you have it on, which I never have it off.
You never have it off?
I never have it off. It's always on. Because it only activates under certain circumstances. When you let off the gas, the accelerator, it doesn't automatically go into the Jake brake mode.
Oh, see, in my big rig, it would automatically come on.
Right. So I just went down that hill, no brakes, and it took brakes at all. So it didn't downshift, and it didn't engage the Jake brake.
So basically, you coasted down
just coasted down the hill. So that's the difference between, say, your old big rig and this. And it's probably a difference in the way the transmission's set up, the way the Jake brake itself is set up. But you step on the brakes, it starts the computer downshifting the transmission, and it engages the Jake brake. And it is a very noticeable difference in how fast it slows down with the Jake. Most downhills, I only have to touch the brakes to get it to downshift, or to downshift again, and then that also engages the Jake. So, you know, I would say on like, say, 6 or 7% grades going downhill, which are pretty steep, this thing will normally be in 4th gear with the Jake brake on, and I don't have to touch the brakes most of the way down the hill. This is nice. This is a nice travel day so far today too.